If you are an academic, you are most likely doing 1,001 jobs at the same time and probably all unpaid. There are ways that you can hack the system to save 20 plus hours in a week simply by utilizing AI tools that we have available to us. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you 4 tips, one bonus tip of how to save time as an academic within research. First thing is that you need to use AI-powered summaries when summarizing large chunks of text. Now, we know that as academics, you read many, if not hundreds of papers every single week and month. And this is something that takes a lot of time. And a lot of the time, it's not necessary to read every single paper from start to end to understand whether or not you want to continue or save it or bookmark it for later. And using an AI tool like Unriddle can really help with this. So Unriddle is an AI tool that helps you to read, write, and learn faster. You can also interact with the documents through the AI assistant, so you can very quickly find and understand information as well. And there's also a lovely kind of user interface where you're able to take notes whilst you read, whilst you write, and whilst you do research. It's just a fantastic all-in-one platform. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm first going to import a document. I just don't want to be reading the paper from start to end. I much rather get an AI tool like Unriddle to do this for me. Research paper has uploaded. It's about cell biology. I can ask the document different questions, and it's really up to you how you want to interrogate the paper. But to start off, I'd always ask a general question, like something like, can you explain this paper to me in the simplest, easiest way? So it's saying that this paper presents the major advances in molecular cell biology over the last decade, and it's given me what the new concepts and discoveries are. It's given me technical advances, key challenges, promising interfaces, and advice for young researchers. This is such a good summary. It's a very long, as you can see, quite text-heavy research paper, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this is a review paper as well. So it's reviewing a number of different research papers, and it's just pulled out a very kind of basic summary that has broken down the different concepts, different ideas, different groups within this research paper. I don't think you can get it easier than this. The second thing that you can do to save time is to extract key information by using AI tools. So, for example, if you are reading a research paper and you want to extract maybe the exact method that was used or extract this from a group of research papers, you are able to also do this using Unriddle. Imagine you've got 10 research papers and you're trying to figure out the difference between them, the gaps in literature, the methods, the kind of types of research that they've done, and then you have to do this one by one for each one. That can get so time consuming. So something that you can do with Unriddle is you can group. So you can select 2 research papers. So I'm going to select this one and that one. You can title this group. So I'm going to probably call this group, let's say group 1. So now when you click on the group, it opens up all the research papers within the group. For me, I only have 2 research papers at the moment, but you can have larger groups like this one where I have 4 research papers. It's really up to you. So I've got these 2 research papers, and what I want to do is start to ask questions and extract data from these 2. So something I've said is, what is the limitation that these papers have reported? And the answer that Unriddle presents me would be based off of the documents that I have provided. So as you can see, there are key limitations that have been given to me, and then I can go into even more depth and ask further questions like, what were the concentrations that were used here in this research? Or like, how many cells were used in this research? So I can really pull out data very quickly without having to search for it myself from a group of research papers, which is fantastic. The third thing that I can do is to visualize connections really quickly by using a research paper map. And with Unriddle, you're able to get all your research papers within your library or within a specific group and get a nice looking graph that shows me the connections between the different research papers. And this will really allow you to try to start to build connections between different papers, different authors, different subtopics, and determine sort of which research papers you're going to be using in the different parts of your thesis or your essay. So I can click on the graph here on the left, And then as you can see, I have got some connections between these research papers here. So I've got the definitions, which is a note that I've actually taken myself in the past. And then you can see that these are very clearly connected with this note. But also this research paper is connected to this one. So this is a connection that I hadn't made myself, but it's a nice graph to show you how the papers that I've added are connected to each other. So imagine if you had, like, let's say you had 50 research papers all in your workspace, you'd get a really nice image of a map that shows you how everything is interconnected. Then you'll be able to generate these paragraphs that have got links between a number of research papers, and that is how you get to the sort of the first class 2-1 grade categories. You can employ AI-driven comparative analysis, which means you're able to compare between different data points, different research papers. So as I just showed you, you can create a group. So I've created this group and I'm going to say compare the 2 research papers. So I specifically want to compare the methods and results. And what this is doing is it's saving me so much time, because you would have opened these 2 research papers up. This is 15 pages. This one is 11 pages. You'd have read 26 pages and would have then had to pull out the information. But this allows you to do a comparative analysis between 2 research papers really quickly to compare the methods and results specifically. So method 1, giving me what the paper 1 has used in terms of methodology, paper 2, and then results for paper 1 and paper 2, and then it summarized the 2 differences. This has given me something that has taken 30 seconds using Unriddle, but would have taken me easily a whole day of reading, and I may not have even fully understood it. So what I would do now is I would take this information, so I've got this now, I would then go to the research paper and try to identify and match up what's been said by the tool, by Unriddle, match that up to what I now know. So it's saying here that paper 1 used genetic knockout mouse models, and I want to know more about this mouse model. So I'll go to paper 1, I would find these mouse models within my methods, and then I now know, right, so that's related to that. That's something I would note down, and I can compare that to paper 2, who have used these markers in transgenic mice instead. So that's really interesting, and I think it's always important to match up what AI has given you to real life. Almost want to test your AI a little bit. You almost want to make sure that it actually matches up. So now that I've got this information, I'm not just going to copy and paste this into my essay or into my notes, but I'm going to say, right, okay, let me just see where that's coming from, because you do have to understand it yourself as well. And then what you can do is you can then create a new note. So I love how there are these panels on the right hand side where I'm able to write a new note. So I'm writing some notes down so I don't forget what I have asked Unriddle and what I actually want to keep. I really like this comparison between the method 1 and 2 paper, because I think that's something that is quite hard to pull out from methods, but actually it's done it quite easily. So I'm going to keep that there. So when I come to write properly, I have all of that information there. Okay, and the last bonus tip is that you can use AI to paraphrase sentences or bits of information for you. There's a lot of times that as researchers, we're reading quite technical, quite dense paragraphs, bits of information, summaries, discussions, and a lot of the time it can be quite overwhelming to just be able to decipher what's being said in simple language, or to be able to rewrite it in your own language so you can include it in another piece of work, in your thesis or in a report somewhere. Okay, so I've copied a couple of sentences from this research paper and I've said, can you paraphrase this for me? And it's paraphrased it for me based off of the information from the research paper, but also what I've given to it. And as you can see, it's slightly longer because it's given more information, but I can say make it shorter. I can say, can you simplify it for me? But doing this allows me to think about it in a different way without language that is overly dense and overly complicated. Those are 5 ways that I use AI in particular to help me save hours of time as an academic. And this is just 5 ways. There are honestly 500 ways that I could have mentioned in today's video, but I'm going to stick to 5. If you want to see more, then let me know. I'll leave the link in my description if you want to go and try Unriddle for free. It's down below. As you can see, it does a really great job of being able to really simplify research papers so that you can interrogate them, understand them, cite them, search for different research papers, and just make your life 10 times easier. It's like having a research assistant in your pockets. So if you like this kind of video, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more from me, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye.